Good evening and welcome to our live crafting session this evening. It is Thursday the 23rd of March 2023 and my name is Jenny McCormack and I am an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the market town of Brackley, which is in Northamptonshire in the UK. If you have been following me for a while, you know that I like to focus on a particular stamp set or collection or product for a week and show you lots of different things, particularly cards that you can make using those products. And this week I've been focusing on the Fancy Flora collection, and there's quite a lot to this collection and I've really only touched the surface. You can find this in our January to April catalogue, and this is the one, you can't really miss it, it's the one with the purple cover, and you can find this collection on page 14, 15, 16 and 17. So there's plenty of ideas to be had here, both using the papers, the stamps, the dies, and there's a second set of stamps and dies that I'm going to utilise today. Hi Scylla, thanks for joining us, I hope you're well. And so there are two sets of stamps and dies, and I've used this first set, Two Tone Flora, so far this week. And these are the cards that I have been making. So this one I created yesterday. That was at a coffee and card. And that's what we created this week at coffee and card so far. And then I went on to do this card. And so there's live videos for this one. We did this one on Tuesday, and this I've stamped using the Two Tone Flora stamp set, and a single colour for each of these flowers, and I've stamped off to get a second generation to get the light and the dark. Hi Fran, good evening to you. And then we've got the foliage here and a little bit of ribbon to finish it off. I decided not to put a centre on because I thought that would make a good wedding card, but I haven't decided. It might become a thank you or a birthday card. And then yesterday I did these two cards. This is using one of the dies from the Two Tone Flora bundle, and on this one I used blending brushes and some ink to colour those different layers, and actually that also produced another card, because when I was stenciling this I did it onto another base card, and though this is quite light I could do it again with some deeper colours. I might just do that to finish that off. It gave a really pretty stenciled effect. And then I went on to create this one, and I was just going to do a black and a white version, so white on black, black on white, and I had a happy accident and cut a little bit of the black by mistake, so I decided just to cut up some elements and pop those onto the layer, so something a little bit different. So today we are going to turn our hands to the coordinating papers, which I haven't used, or rather I haven't used this week. I have used quite a lot of them, so I'm afraid this is all I've got left from the designer series paper. It's called Fancy Flora and it's still part of the same collection. So we have the papers shown here at the bottom of page 15. There's also some fine shimmer paper, some pastel gems and some pool party ribbon. But what I haven't showed you, and what I'm going to introduce as well today, so here are more examples using the stamp set that I've used and those dies. And then what we're going to use today with the papers is this coordinating set of stamps. So these are all sentiments, and the Two Tone Flora is all floral, no sentiments. And there are also some matching dies that go with this. Now there's only a very little picture here at the bottom, so let me show you those dies in person, which are here, and I will also show you the papers. So this makes some great, these are great tags and dies, perfect for sentiments. You've got these two shaped ones and a sort of narrow one with cut ends. You'll often see me do that just with a strip of paper. We've then got these three that work together, nesting one inside the other, and then you've got these two which make great little tags. And if I just take that hexagon out for the minute, whoops, I'm sorry, these elements here slot into this element of the tag. Let me just lift it up for you. Hopefully it'll be a little bit better on the screen then. So if you can see that, so if I take that one away. So you have this tag shape here, and then you can do this one at the same time and get this little flower die cut. Or you can use this one here to create a little tag with a teardrop shaped hole. Quite difficult for you to see, I appreciate that. And then we also have this one that has some foliage in it. So again, you can either cut that out at the same time. You could also put these, for example, in the corner and have a corner of that die, any of the dies, cut out. And then the stamp set that goes with it is called Something Fancy, and it's full of sentiments, as you can see. I'm hoping it's not reflecting too much. I like, in particular, like this one, I didn't forget your birthday, I'm just stretching out the celebration. I like the thank you, deepest sympathy, and then we've got a small, narrow happy birthday and congratulations. They're always useful where you've only got a small amount to play with. And also nothing fancy, just love. I like that sentiment too. So that's called Something Fancy, and you can buy those with the dies at a 10% discount. Hi Carol, hi Diane, thanks for joining us. So I'm probably going to use these two. I might use the larger one, I'm not quite sure, so I'm just going to get those out. And I'm glad you're watching, Diane, because I can show you the die cutting machine while you're online. Okay, so I'm just going to pop those in there for the moment. Let me show you the papers, and then I'm just going to make a nice simple card this evening. And I do really want to do a one sheet wonder, so I might actually do that tomorrow. Hi Pat, how lovely to have you join us. Haven't seen you here for ages, so I hope you're well. Right, so these are the Fancy Flora papers. They are all completely mixed up, so I do apologise for that. And they're a mix of artistic papers, so it's designed to look like, well, it was originated by the artist. So with paint, I'm trying to think of the word. I don't know what kind of paint it is, whether it's acrylics or oil, I don't know. But they were designed, and then they've been digitized, and then the colours have been changed. So they're all double-sided. So this is one, and I know you're going to have repeats in here because I haven't had time to sort them out. I do apologise. So just a real nice mass of colours, and the colours in here on all our packs, it tells you what the colours are: Balmy Blue, Basic Grey, Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, Evening Evergreen, Fresh Fuchsia, Night of Navy, Orchid Oasis, Pool Party, Soft Sea Foam, Soft Suede, and Soft Succulent. And the reason that Stampin' Up do that is that if you want to colour coordinate with card or ink, then you know which colours they've used. Obviously, you don't have to use coordinating colours. So this one here, and this one with a nice painted background. That's a duplicate, isn't it? I can see that. And then we've got this one here, and this one. And there's a mix of the artistic papers and artistic florals, as you will see. So we've got this one here and that on the back. That's the same. Yes, just trying to take out the duplicates so we're not too confused. There's that one. That's the same as that one. And we've got this one here. So these are really useful background papers. I have to say that I have used a lot of the florals, so I'm going to apologise now. You can see which I prefer, can't you? Right, let's just take out the duplicates. So there are 12 designs. That's the same as that, isn't it? Yep. And there are 4 of each sheet. There's that one. This one. We've got... this one we've got. Okay. So this one here, I love this colour combination. The Evening Evergreen, the Calypso, and the Soft Suede. And then this one has got the elements of the flowers in it. And then on the reverse we've got this one. Okay, and then we've got this one, the greens and the yellows, the daffodil. And then very bright yellow on the back. So where you have a really bright design, you can tone it down by stamping over it, obviously by having layers to cover it up, or you can stamp elements, so you can stamp flowers on it and cut those out, for example. That's a repeat. There's this one here. And then, I don't think we've had, yes, we've had that one. And that one. That one. Sorry. That one. And then finally this one. So I haven't quite got a full set. So there should be 12, and I've got 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I have 12. Yes, I have one of each. Okay, and I think it's this one I'm going to use today. Just really pretty, and on the reverse it's got the painted look. Okay, so those are all the patterned papers, and all I'm going to do for today, because I've had a busy week and I've got a lot still to do this evening, is I'm going to use this and pop it onto a layer and then onto a card base. And then I think what I'm going to do, because I want to show Diane the die cutting, is stamp a sentiment and die cut it, and then die cut a layer that will go behind. So that's what I'm going to do. Haven't quite decided which bit of that I'm going to use. And in this colour here we've got Night of Navy. We've got a little bit of Orchid Oasis, Calypso Coral here, so and Balmy Blue as well, this sort of light blue. So I think what I'm going to do is use either Night of Navy or Orchid Oasis. So let me grab probably Orchid Oasis, because I've got more of that than I have Night of Navy, and it's such a nice bright fun colour, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is cut a layer, and then this is going to go onto that, and then that's going to go onto a white card. So let's do that first. I just want to pick out what element of this I want. It's difficult. I think I'm going to take it there. So with my trimmer, I'm going to cut this down to 9.5 centimetres, like so. And I'm going to cut this end off at 13.85. Like so. I'm going to keep that big so I can pop that inside my card. And then with my Orchid Oasis, I'm just going to cut a layer. So I always like to cut this in half first, and then I've got a card base ready. And then I'm going to cut this to 10 centimetres by 14.35, like so. So my two layers are going to be like that, and then this is going to go onto probably onto a white card, but I could pick up any of these other colours as well. And then what I want to do is cut a label, so I'm just going to trim some of this down. So like that. So I'm going to use that die to cut that shape out. And then I'm just going to stamp onto a piece of white card with my sentiment and cut that out with the smaller die. Now, I had a white card at the ready. Yep, layered underneath the papers, I've buried it. And let's use the stamp set here. So the thank you there would work. Or I could go slightly bigger. I'm going to stick with the thank you, I think. And I will stamp that in Orchid Oasis, and then I'm going to die cut it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to do it that way or that way. But I'm going to stamp it first and then die cut it. So let's grab a block and some ink, and we're good to go. So I hope everybody's had a good day. We're at Thursday evening already. Can't believe how that even is possible. Okay, so just light tapping for my sentiment, and the good thing is when you know you're going to cut it out is it doesn't matter if this isn't straight, because you can die cut it accordingly. I've done a couple in case I change my mind about which shape I use. So let's pop the stamp set to one side. Now I'm going to use our mini embossing machine. So this is for Diane. So the mini embossing machine is the same as our large one, but it's just in miniature. Simple as that. The theory is exactly the same. So we have a machine here, and then we have some plates. And these will vary depending on what you're doing, but our plates have instructions on them, so it tells you what you need and in what layers. So for die cutting, I've got my grey plate and a plastic plate, which is what it get acrylic plate, which is what it cuts into. I'm going to put my card on there that I'm die cutting, and then I'm going to die cut this larger one. And there's a very thin metal edge at 90 degrees to this die, and that's what cuts in to the card. So I put this on top to sandwich it and protect it, keep it nice and level, and then I'm just going to put it into the machine and wind it through like so. So it's a bit like a mangle, but instead of just squishing your clothes dry, it will cut the shape out, and the shape relates to the shape of the metal die. And there we have that layer, and I can do the same now for my thank you. I'm going to use the smaller one like so. And you can decide at this point whether you want to have it off to one side, for example, or in the middle, or whether you wanted it that way round. So I'm going to show you two variations so that you can see. Okay, so just popping that on top. And I did move it slightly. It's always best to actually do it on the machine rather than transfer it to the machine. Okay, so there's a handle at the top. There we go. So it only needs to go through once if it's a simple shape. If you've got a very complicated shape, like this one here, then you may need to run it through a few times just to make sure it's cut right the way through and properly. Okay, so that now can layer onto that, and I can decide whereabouts on here I want to put that. Now what I'm going to try, she says, is use one of those pretty little shapes to cut something in here. In order to do that, I need to find the dies that I put down. There they are. So I just wondered if this would fit on like so. Might try it. I know that it's not going to go right to the end. I could also use the single one. Hi Kerry! And you could use that and then thread some ribbon round, but I'm going to try this one and see. Now it might be that I need to use a larger layer to make it work really well. Just trying to think which way I want my little flower. I'm just going to try it like this. So I'm just going to put this in that little shape. So this is a little bit experimental. And if it is a little bit too big, then I might switch. Okay, so there we go, that cute little flower. So what I'm thinking, now I've seen that, and you've obviously got the die cut bits that come out. What I'm thinking is I'm going to do it that way and put that little flower at the top. I think that will look really pretty. So I don't know if that will fit in at the same time. It wasn't really designed to go with that one. So let's pop this on. get it straight to my sentiment, hopefully. Yes, I'm going to do that first. If you're using one of the other dies where it's designed to go in, you could do them both at the same time. And that cracking you can hear is because I've put my paper in with the die flat against the edge. And what I say to my customers is ideally what you want to be able to do is put it in at an angle, because then you're spreading the load of the die cutting. Sort of think of it as this, you know, if you go over a sleeping policeman that's flat like that, it's really fast, you know all about it, but if you go at an angle, it's much better. Okay, so I have got my little flower, so I'm going to pop my little flower in. I was just trying to think. Yeah, I like it that way. That's cute. Make sure I've got it the right way around. So I'm just manually positioning that. It probably would have fitted in that way around. Hi Dee. Did you manage to catch up all right, Kerry? I know you were having either had to go or you had problems. I can't remember now. Alright, so now I've got that little flower design cut out. When I layer these two up, you've got that design showing through there. But you could also, if you wanted to, pop a little bit of paper behind so that you've got a flower. So I'm thinking I've got this offcut here, so what I can do is just cut a little bit of that to put behind. So I'm going to be a bit cunning and see if I can pick out a bit that looks sort of flower like. Maybe like that. All I'm going to do with a pair of scissors is just cut a little bit out. Ooh, that might have been a bit too narrow. It was. So I'll turn it that way. There we go. Let's trim this down. You can tell I'm tired, can't you? Just been a busy week. Okay, I like that. So all I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue on the back of here, not on the front of there, because I don't know whether it's going to come through. So let's just grab a little bit of glue, and I'm just going to dot it like that. And then put it on there. Okay, and that can now go onto there. So I could have put a little hole and threaded a ribbon in. I might put some ribbon around it. But that's how you can use these little elements. So I could have also popped it in there and then run it through on the other side as well. Lots of variations with those little tags. So that's just the principle of die cutting, if that helps you, Diane. And let's grab a white card. And just put that together. Nice and easy for a Thursday evening. I will hop on tomorrow because I really want to do a one sheet wonder with that fabulous Two Tone Flora stamp set. So I will pop on tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock. So I'm not normally here on a Friday. So this layer is Orchid Oasis. So what I could have done was cut out a piece from here so that I wasn't using an extra piece, and then I'm just going to decide which way around I'm going to put that, and I'm thinking maybe like that, some ribbon round it. Oh, bless you, Kerry. I think we're all tired this week. So I'm going to go for a contrasting colour for the ribbon. I could also just put a ribbon at the top. But I quite fancy a bit of, if I had Calypso coral would be nice. Let's see what I've got that's anything like it. So it might do the job. So this is Calypso coral. So what I'm thinking is to wrap it round there. Like so, and then just put a little bow at the side. And this could go up or down. Or it could go in there. That's what I'm going for. Right, let's stick this layer down to start with. Just find a glue that's got some in rather than my ones on the table. Okay, so just applying a little bit of glue on here. So a scribble of glue, not too close to the edge, not too much. And pop that on there. Then I'm going to wrap this ribbon round, so I'm just going to cut it about 2 to 2.5 centimetres wider on each side than my card. And I'm just going to wrap that around the back, and I just want to see roughly where I want that to go. That will work. Roughly. And I'm going to use my seal here just so I can wrap the ribbon round and have it stick down without waiting for it to dry. And this gives me an opportunity to lift it and replace it, so if it was on the wrong place I can lift it up and just move it and wrap it back round like so. So it was straight, now it isn't. Dear. There we go. I think that will work. So that's going to go onto there, and then that will go on top. So just adding some more glue to the back of this. I could use either the wet glue or this glue tape. Yeah, that's the way I had it. So just lining that up. I know it's going to be about 2.5 millimeters all the way around. So that's that layer there. And then I've got this that can go onto here. Now I'm just wondering, just to be awkward, whether I'm actually going to do a tag instead of this shape, do one of the tags and thread some ribbon through the top to coordinate it. So bear with me. Let's stamp another thank you, which is already out. I could stamp this in Calypso Coral, but I'm going to stamp it in the blue because I want it to stand out. And hopefully I've got enough space on here to cut one out. Okay, so let's bring those dies back in, and so I'm thinking like that, with the little hole in the top so I can thread the ribbon through, and I might stamp a couple of the flowers in there, or I could edge it. I could use my blending brush and blend in the edges. Too many choices. Right, I'm just going to trim this down so I don't need all the excess to play with. Tidy up a little bit, bring my machine back, clear the decks so I don't knock everything flying. So I've got my base plate and my acrylic plate, and these, as you can see, will get worn. They start off in pristine clear condition, and then as you cut into them, it's designed to do that. And then you can clean these off, and eventually you either won't be able to see through them because there's so many cut marks, or they can snap if you put them under a lot of pressure. I haven't lost any of the small plates ever. I have lost one or two big plates, but then mine get used every day. Okay, so I'm going to pop this in. Hopefully you can see that. Just about. I'm going to pop this in so I can see where it's being positioned. And if I wanted it smaller, I could actually bring this down. But I'm going to leave it like that and pop this little teardrop die cut in at the same time. You could do it separately if you wanted to, but should work. Let's get it straight. Okay. So just roll that through, and I should have angled it slightly. Tut tut. There you go. But can you see there? We've got the cut out with that little hole. So, and then what I can do is take the larger one and cut that out of Calypso Coral, for example, or I could do Orchid Oasis, or I could just leave it like that and blend the edges. So my ribbon's going to go up like so. Let me cut, just going to cut a piece of Calypso Coral. I'm hoping I've got a little offcut somewhere. Oh no, that's a card. Sorry everybody, you were thinking this was going to be short and sweet, so was I. Best laid plans. So, there's my 2 layers. So what I should do, and you'll hear the difference this time round because I'm going to tilt this slightly, and I could put this in as well, although it's going to be in a slightly different position, isn't it? I'm going to cheat slightly and put this one in, so I know roughly where that's got to go. Yeah, that wasn't very mathematical, was it? But I want the 2 holes to be in the same place, roughly, rather than staggered, if that makes any sense. Okay, so it is at a bit of an angle, and hopefully you didn't hear any massive click, because I wasn't putting it under any extra pressure. Okay, so that's the larger one. I may or may not use it after all. Okay, put my dies all together over here. Plates out of the way. So, what I wanted to achieve was for those 2 holes to be lined up, which I have, because if I put it right at the top, the other hole would have been up here, so it wouldn't have matched. Okay, and I am going to stamp. Oh, that's true, Kerry. I could do one the same size and offset it. Yeah, because it does feel it feels quite big, doesn't it? So what Kerry is saying is cut another one this size and then angle it like that. So what I could do, if I'm cunning, is cut it from that. Should we do that? Because it feels a little bit oversized for our little card. If you had a lot of other things going on, I think you'd be alright. So let's just do that. So I'm just going to arrange this, hopefully roughly in the right place. I'm just doing it by eye. Okay. So thank you, Kerry, that was a good idea. Good idea. There we go. So you could use that for something else. And now I've got this one here that, as she says, you can offset it like that. You could do it at an angle, like so. Or you can have that one straight and that one at a bit of an angle. Okay, it's definitely a better size, but I am just going to stamp some of those little flowers. Or, no, ignore me. Let me just find the stamp set. And I'm going to use these ones here. That one and that one. Let's grab a piece of grid paper and block. So remember, I've got these as well, so these don't go to waste, so I keep these. So what I'm going to do is pop a set of flowers there and maybe a couple at the bottom, just to give it a bit of interest. And I'm going to do Orchid Oasis, Night of Navy and Orchid Oasis. Or am I going to use Orchid Oasis and Calypso Coral? Dear. Let's try Orchid Oasis and Calypso Coral. So, there is a right and a wrong way for these in terms of how the flowers go together. So, just do that and that. I'm going to turn this round like so. So I know that all cases, that's how I want to ink it up. So once I've got it in line, I'll have it correct, hopefully. Right, let's just try Calypso Coral just to make sure it's going to look alright. So, okay, so I'm just going to line this up. So it doesn't quite fit that way, so I know it's got to be the other way around, like so. Yeah, that works. So I'm going to stamp them off first. I don't want them too in your face. And then because I stamp these in the same direction each time, I don't need to worry about realigning. This reminds me of the ones that you did, Dee, if you're still watching. Okay, stamp off. Watch out for the ink on the end there. Got a little bit carried away. And then this last one's here. There we go. Oh, didn't stamp it off, did I? You can see the difference, but I think I've got away with it. Right, okay, so we went a little bit around the houses there, didn't we? That would have been alright, not stamping it off anyway, but it will do perfectly. So that's going to go onto there. I'm going to thread some ribbon through that. And I might just slightly offset it with a dimensional. Go. So, sorry, I can't believe I've gone on for so long when this was just going to be a quick, I'll just stamp it and off we go. Never mind. Okay, so which way round? I'm going to do it like that so that my thank you there is straight. Thread this through. So this is purely decorative, it's not holding anything together. Just tie a little bow if I can. There we are. So for those of you that have subscribed to my class in a box, the majority of them went out yesterday and today. I was waiting on an additional delivery from Stampin Up, so there are a few that are waiting. Other than that, they should all be out tomorrow or over the weekend. There we go. Let's just make that a little bit smaller. So this is from our spring catalogue, so our January to April catalogue, and that finishes at the end of April along with our annual catalogue. So at this point we don't know what we'll be retiring. As demonstrators we get to see what we'll be retiring next week, and then there will be a list posted, so you'll know if your favourite colours or your favourite stamp set is retiring. Then you'll have an opportunity to grab hold of that. So I want my thank you to be straight. Does that look straight? Sort of. So there's our little ribbon at the top, and I might put a bow on here, and then the last touch will be to add a few matching sequins. So there are coordinating sequins for this set. I might take this off. I'm going to have a look and see. It might be too much. So hi Michelle. Oh, that's okay, Diane. I'm giving you an idea. So the principle for the large machine is exactly the same. But obviously what it allows you to do is use bigger dies. Okay, I think that works. Let's just move that over there, and I'm just going to pop a few sequins on. So I've got some spare tags, but the die set is really useful because it's got all of these different layers of tags, and obviously they go with the stamps, but if you've got existing sentiment stamps, then obviously as long as they fit in the tag shapes, that would be absolutely fine. Okay, so a couple of things. One is I am going to pop some of those flowers on the inside. I'm going to pop some on the envelope, and I'm just going to grab some bling to add to that. Hopefully. And there are ones that match these papers exactly, and I'm hoping I can find them. If not, those might do the job. I know I did have some. Whether I have any left, of course, is another matter, because we do rather like our bling at Coffee and Card. Oh, so Diane, the page in the Spring Summer catalogue is here, 17. 14, 15, 16 and 17. So these are the dies, and when you buy a stamp set with coordinating dies, when they first come out, if you buy them together, you get 10% off both the stamps and the dies. So I'm just looking for my other packet of bling, which I can't, oh yes I can, it's on the floor. I can't see. But sometimes I will buy one without the other to start with. Because sometimes I think, oh well, I won't use the dies, or the stamp set's not my style, and you can then go back and, oh, I haven't got any left. I'm going to use these little ones. You can then go back and buy them separately, of course. I'm just going to put these ones on. They're not an exact match, but I think they will work on there. And they're nice and flat, which is good, and they're self-adhesive. So I'm going to have one there. Oh no, these are retired ones. This is actually rather like the mint colour that we've got in here. So I'm going to add that. And another one of those. I'm going to put it. I might put a small one in the centre. Yeah. Mind you can hardly see it. I can see it. There we go. Alright, so I hope you like that. I will finish this off. I'm going to stamp these flowers on the inside and on the envelope. But you don't have to sit and watch me do that, because I've been here far too long as it is. So thank you so much. I hope you like all our finished designs. Let me just show you the complete set that we've done this week. There's one missing already. The yellow version. So I've got this one here. Let me bring this up to the screen because I tend to forget that you can't see what I can see. It really doesn't look like anything at a distance. It's much better in person. So there's that one. Then we've got the note card version of that. Another note card version of that. And then this one we did yesterday. No, we didn't, the day before. And so this is stamping and using the dies to cut those flowers and leaves out. That probably might be my favourite. And then these two that we did yesterday. So there we go. Thank you so much. I hope you go on to enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon or evening. Do join me tomorrow. So I am going to be live here tomorrow, because I want to do a one sheet wonder, which I haven't done for ages, and I've seen some stunning one sheet wonder designs. Not sure I'm going to be able to match the level of expertise that I have seen, but I'm going to have a go at a one sheet wonder tomorrow. So I hope you can join me. We'll be here at 7 PM, same time as this evening. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon or evening. Thank you for joining us. I'll peel some dimensionals off the back of my ink pad. One of my customers was asking today about how the catalogues work, because if you haven't been with Stampin' Up for very long, you may not understand how catalogues work and what is available and what isn't available. So I'm going to do a live just to explain how that works. It's really not complicated. When the catalogue finishes, when the annual catalogue finishes, about a third of the items get retired and you won't see those in that form again. A third of them will stay, and then there will be a third, approximately, of new products, whether that's stamps or dies or whatever. We're expecting a colour change, so some of the colours will come and go this year. And all the time the catalogue is current, you should be able to order the items. Now, when it gets to the end of the catalogue, items that are low in stock will not be replenished. Bear in mind that here in Europe, we have our products shipped from America. So it takes 6 or so weeks on a container lorry to come over. So if we run out here, there's no point in shipping products after the catalogue has finished. Obviously if they're in situ it's slightly different, but as a general rule, once the catalogue's finished, those retiring items, there will be a list of what they are, and some of the products will be discounted, and that does depend on the stock levels, and that will vary from country to country. So if you follow, for example, Australian or American demonstrators, like many of us do, and you hear them say, oh, this has gone out of stock, or this is on low inventory, it doesn't necessarily mean the same for us here in the UK and Europe, because we have a European warehouse. So I just want to give you a heads up for that. But I'm going to do a live to explain all of that in person, so watch out for that, and I'll email that out. If you're on my email list, you'll get a link to that. Obviously, if you've been with me and with Stampin' Up for a while, you know how the system works. And all I can say is, if there's something you're desperate to get, don't leave it to the last minute and be disappointed. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so thank you so much. I've gone on far too long. Have a great evening, and I look forward to crafting with you again tomorrow. We have coffee and cards in the afternoon tomorrow. So once I've tidied up from this session, I'll be designing tomorrow's card, and it's going to be one suitable for the men in our lives. So there'll be a masculine theme to it, not necessarily only for men, but something that will be suitable for the men, rather perhaps than pretty florals, which they may not particularly like. So thank you so much, everyone. Do take care, and I look forward to crafting with you again really soon. Don't forget, you can catch all of these videos on my YouTube channel. Just look for me, Jenny McCormack, or search for Jemini Crafts with a J, and you'll find me. Thank you, everybody. Do take care. Bye for now.